So I think we're live on YouTube. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the core team meeting for June 2021. I need to close this window because I'm going to start seeing myself now on the window. So we close that. All right, today, a bunch of things, recordings. We started with that. So I have all the recordings on my Zoom account. I'm currently have downloaded them offline on my computer, and I have to, if you all agree, upload them on YouTube. So we're gonna have one playlist there. It's gonna be easier to maintain it, and moving forward, we can just use the Zoom feature for live streaming. So we don't have to do anything manually. The process is gonna start on its own, and it's gonna post it on YouTube. So all good there. I don't see anyone disagree. I'm keeping an eye.
Absolutely, please do.
Cool. So we can move to the next hot topic. Core team Slack access. All right. So first of all, by now should all have. Oh shit! I forgot to link to the spreadsheet.
To be honest, you have to request access, Christos, anyway. So I doubt many of us will have access to it anyway. So,
okay, let me quickly make a copy of it. I just made a copy of it. You know what? I'm gonna just quickly share my screen for that. I should not make a copy of it because there are your private information there. There are your personal information there. So if I make a copy and make it available for people with a link, that's not gonna be safe. Okay, so by now you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
All right, so by now you should all have access into all these channels except the orange ones. The orange ones are the channels that apparently legal requested more justification for you to be on these channels.
So, I mean, feel free to keep talking, but I responded to the comment on the issue that this is complete rubbish. Half the channels that are marked that we don't have access to, like the orange ones, we do have access to anyway. And yeah, it's just a load of rubbish. I think there's no point in us talking about this on the Zoom call. It's just a waste of our time now. So if you can give them a bit of a kick up the backside, I don't think they've responded to my post. Possibly someone else even responded to that issue. It's 100% clear that they really couldn't care less about this. So just pass those comments on, and if anyone else has any thoughts, then please air them. But
who can care less more? Sorry.
Whoever it is, it's I guess the security team are the ones that hold the keys, maybe. But you know, the fact that it's so. Let's have a look when the last post was, when that spreadsheet was shared. So that was Peter, wasn't it? Up a tiny little bit. So hover over 3 weeks ago, where Peter made his comment.
I remember.
So that says, you know what GitLab's like, 3 weeks, could be 4 weeks, it could be, but you know, in 3 weeks they haven't even bothered to respond. So I just don't stress us out with this anymore. Let's just
So the thing is that since then, and that's something that Peter is not doing a good job, and I'm trying to remind him that, is that he created an internal request, a private one, an access request for all these channels, and this is when legal got into it. I think it's tracked here. This is where legal got into here, and it was like, oh, I need more justification, and what's going on? We need some more justification. And this is where
So you're getting updates, but we're not. Okay, that gives me a tiny bit more confidence.
So no. Just like based on that, based on your feedback and everything, Peter opened an access request for all these channels here on this Slack, on this spreadsheet, and then the director of legal, Ramsey, went in. He came here and says like, "Hey, we'd like more. We need some more justification about specific channels. Why core team needs access." And my approach here is like, hey, we kicked out core team members because of having sensitive information about clients on Slack. So why don't we just stick on that rule, stick on that requirement, just review all the channels based on that, and let's move forward. And I have a meeting with her today at 6:30 local time to review the necessary requirements or whatever needed for you to get access into all the channels. I mean, additionally the orange ones, and based on the requirements, because I don't like changing the requirements every now and then. You were kicked out from Slack based on security and compliance requirements regarding clients' data, customers' data. So we need to stick to that. If we need to come up with more requirements, we need just to finalize the requirements and not change the requirements every once and then. So that's the short term and what's going on right now.
Okay, I wonder if we set a due date on the issue on the core team project for at least once a week. So maybe you could cross post into there just an update. So because forgive my frustration, but obviously having not seen an update since this post and this response, especially with the confusion with them saying, oh, we can't have access to X, Y, and Z, and we actually already have access to X, Y, and Z. So that just seems like somebody's really not doing their job properly. And I know that's pretty harsh, but how long has this been going on for now?
Now here we have also the bot closing the issue. Sure, cool, perfect. No, not under my watch. No, you're absolutely right. I'm just also trying to help Peter understand that all of these things need to happen in a public place,
transparent fashion.
Yes, in a more transparent way. Access requests right now are private by default.
Yeah, because even us not having access to this issue, in my eyes, is a bit against the values, right?
Yeah, but
I'd say we probably don't need to go in the whole lot, but I mean, I think you get the general gist of where we're at. The whole entire thing is just anti-GitLab. It's not the way that GitLab works. Like if there's a big blog post on some big blog about something similar, it would not go over well.
Absolutely. And I'm not trying to justify anything, but in that case, this is an access request, that this is the process of making an access request. So this repo by default is going to be private because of sensitive information, private information of your information. So it's not like
I'm not. Yeah, this wasn't a complaint against you. It was just in general.
No. I totally hear you. I'm with you on that. I'm with you with that. We're trying to right now. I feel that we're trying to actually reinforce some of GitLab values during this process, and I think we lost Lee somewhere there. Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know how you managed to kill my internet connection, Christos, because you weren't happy with what I was saying. That's impressive. I'm back. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, welcome back. But just to say something about that is like there is a short-term solution which is like for you all to get access into all the channels that we've been requesting for quite a while right now. This is the short-term solution, but also in the long term, if you check the agenda, we met with GitLab the other day along with David to go through this problem, and the problem is right now is of disconnecting you from Slack and also from our teams. Something that people don't necessarily understand is that it's not like you get the value from GitLab. GitLab gets, I mean, if we talk about the value exchange between the core team and GitLab gets more value than you get from GitLab, and people cannot understand that, to be honest. So what we're trying to do is that we're trying to come up with technical solutions. We had a call with Slack to see, okay, how we can, let me just stop sharing my screen, how we can keep that momentum going, just come up with a technical solution that is fine for security compliance, but at the same time, it keeps the core team really close, if not next to GitLab. And it's also can be a scalable solution, because right now the problem is that how you understand if the requirement is like customer information that are shared on Slack channels. Okay, how can we mark some of the channels as safe or not safe, for example? Because there's not only you, there are also other people who are part as multi-channel guests on GitLab. So how we make that happen and how it is scalable, because in the future we might want to invite more people, more community members on Slack. So how we make that happen. So there are technical solutions out there. They mentioned something about the Slack Enterprise Grid that has some availabilities there, some options there. They might be able to work something out, but they went away and then promised to come back to us in the next few weeks with some suggestions, and then talk to GitLab to see how much it's going to cost and how we can make it happen. But yeah, that's a long-term solution. The long-term thing we're looking for.
I did notice, actually, I don't know where I saw it on Twitter or somewhere, that Slack have recently introduced the concept of roles, which apparently wasn't a thing before. So I've never administered a Slack instance, so I don't know too much about the challenges, but I think one of the big things was that it sounds like each individual person has to have like a list maintained of channels, as opposed to maybe like a role or a rule that says, okay, everyone with this role can have these channels, but I'm sure they've got that in hand.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether their role is going to be something helpful, to be honest, because it's a matter of the channels. But we'll figure it out. Hopefully. I'm in the beginning, I wasn't sure that Slack can help, because most of the times the Slack is like, okay, let's create a new workspace, and then it's channels, and I'm like, that's not the way to move forward. It's just like you're just like decentralizing the community. So in any case, I think there is something promising there. They didn't come back to us yet. The moment they will, I'm just gonna post an update on the issue and on the on Slack as well, for sure.
Perfect.
So yeah, this still is ongoing. It's like the most stressful thing we're handling right now, and we're not keeping it. We're not pausing or stopping or anything like that. It's the priority for David and I. So we're still working on that. And yeah, you have every right to be frustrated. I am also frustrated. All right. Anything else on that for now? Okay, I will also try. I'm gonna cross post on the Slack channel to comment about the process there, and I'm gonna post again. I'm gonna report back in the evening after I have a meeting with the legal with Ramsey. Okay. All right. Moving forward. All right. Core team mission. I opened NMR with rewarding a bit the core team mission. So we've been discussing that for quite a while. We want to. There was the really nice. Okay, let me just share my screen again. Wait. Move it out. Okay, there is an ongoing conversation. This is about from a previous. This is from a previous MR. This is John. We discussed in our last meeting. This is John's suggestion about explaining what the core team is and what Heroes program is. It's like the core team community members who represent the interests of the community to GitLab and ensure that GitLab is living up to its mission and values. And Heroes program to recognize and support contributors for making outstanding contributions to GitLab, be more community facing and less involved in representing community interests in GitLab. And based on that, we're like, okay, why don't we? We had an ongoing conversation about, revising the core team mission statement, some really nice ideas here. And we suggested, let's make it more explicit about what is the core team. And I had it as an action item to go ahead and just make some suggestions, just briefly, to get things started. So I just made the suggestion about the mission. Wait, let's go to the preview. All right, the mission of the core team is to represent the interests engaged with a wider community, GitLab community, acting as a connecting mechanism between them and GitLab towards fulfilling their shared mission of everyone can contribute. So the idea is that we need to communicate somehow that everyone can contribute is our mission, and we need to keep GitLab accountable towards that. But personally, I would love to avoid the word accountable, keeping GitLab accountable in a way, because it's really difficult. It means that we need to have a mechanism for doing that, and we don't. So it's going to create more stress. So yeah, I'm not native in English, so you're more than welcome to. No,
that's perfect. Thanks, Christos, because that's what we kept saying. As soon as someone starts an MR, we can start adding suggestions or responding to suggestions, etc. So thank you.
No worries. Do we want to actually briefly discuss it here? Do we want to do it async?
Right. I would personally recommend async, at least in terms of specific wording. I don't know if you ever tried to make PowerPoint via meeting, it never works.
I think even if we all have a stab, if there's a bunch of suggestions and comments and questions, it might even be that next month we then pick it up on the call if it's not merged by then.
Perfect. I've asked everyone for your input here, so feel free to check it out. That's great. I love async. In my previous organization, if it was not a meeting, it was not work getting done. So it's really even for wording, especially for wording. Cool. Contribute then. All right. There is GitLab Contribute happening in September. So a few months ago, I asked for people who can want to attend in person to add their name there. Most of you, like Lee, Ben, George, and Takuya, with also they were interested in joining, but based on circumstances, especially around COVID and different restrictions from country. Ben, Jacobo, if you're Remy, okay. You don't have to, because there's another process for you. Jacobo and everyone else who are seeing the recording afterwards, I'm gonna reach out on Slack as well. Please, if you want to attend, contribute, please add your name there, because we're gonna passing out the list of people to the team to start reaching out. Andrew, Contribute is a conference that it's an event that is happening. It's organized by GitLab, originally for the company and some of our partners. It's an in-person meeting, team building, and also meeting for the teams to work together in real life. And we are restarting that in September. So, and core team has traditionally been invited there, because core team has been literally a core team of people working with GitLab. So it's really crucial for them to be there. So yeah, the idea, let me just also share the Slack. the FAQ with all the details about core team. Where is it? Okay. I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out, the event. I mean, it's going to be the first in-person event after a while. So,
Do you know at the moment what any of the current rules and regs are, or is there no point in even contemplating it because, you know, they change from week to week?
I have
they haven't
no
done
idea.
a ton of details on the event page.
There's some
Sorry,
on the
Ben,
event
you
page, you say, Ben?
They have a bunch of details on the event page about the current protocols. I mean, most of them are dictated by the specific country, right? So last I checked, they were pretty, they were workable, but strict, right? Testing and all that fun stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, or with a vaccination certificate, but still, it's like it based on the amount of information that's being circulated. I think it's going to happen. I mean,
awesome.
I don't know. And they said that they're going to start reaching out for booking stuff in July. So that's why I would like to have an idea of who can attend, so we can start the process there. Because we've allocated the budget, but we need to make sure that, it's going to be used as well.
I would maybe suggest you open an issue and give it a deadline or something. Like I already mentioned to you, I'm good, but other people might have more harder decisions to make.
Okay. Thank you. That's a great suggestion. Cool. All right. Let's see. All right. Review up, Lee. Finally, some progress there. Some light in the tunnel. All right. Given the Slack, given how the Slack access thing has been handled, I'm just trying to be really careful of how I'm handling this. I don't want to poke anything, and in any case, I'm really careful of how we're handling this. I've talked with Kyle as well about setting the password of the review app. It's sandboxed environment, so there's not a security concern there right now. So the issue is like, okay, how we make that happen? And there are two technical solutions that we can perform there. One is we use a password manager other than 1Password, or the other one is like we use 1Password, the password manager, which is the designated app that we use at GitLab. I was trying to open an access request for you, but then again, in order to do that, you need to have a GitLab account. So I'm reaching out to the 1Password, the person who's managing 1Password, to see how we can navigate that, what can be the proper solution, and whether it's feasible for you to have you on 1Password without having access to any GitLab vaults for security reasons. So we can have our own core team vault, and then we can share other keys there in case that we need it, especially in the future. So yeah, I'm expected to talk to that person later this week, and I'm going to report back as soon as I have something.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. And the confusion there was like, because there was a misunderstanding regarding what is the review app and how do we have that. Yeah, there was like a lot of
I think the simple way of looking at it is, at the moment, from what I understand, I've been told that if we need access to a review app, we just ping any GitLab team member. They'll log in with the root credentials, change the password, and send you the new password. So if that's not an issue, then presumably us having the password in the first place shouldn't really be an issue. But now it's just the blooming technical challenge of how we get access to the password.
Sorry, give me 1 sec. And I'm back. Sorry, someone knocked my door, and it was too early for someone. So yeah, Lee, regarding your last comment, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's working right now, but again, it's
no, again, it's not killing us or anything, but it's just another one to make us feel like we belong a little bit more and ease everyone's lives.
Andrew suggested something. Yes, Andrew, that works, but you need to have a paid subscription for 1Password, as far as I know. There is a pricing there. It's like there's not a free tier. And the thing is that we have to pay, and the solution is GitLab is already paying for a license for the whole company, so it would be easier for us to to go there. And if not, we need to find a way to do that. It's like, do we create paid accounts for everyone outside GitLab and we pay them, or we go to another app, or how that works? So in any case, I'm gonna reach out to the technical owner of 1Password and see. Team includes. Yeah. No. Sorry, I'm just reading Andrew's comments on the Google document. No, I understand, Andrew. The thing is that, again, how we pay for that, how we expense that, or how it's part of it. That's the thing. We create something else outside GitLab, or we stay with GitLab. Because we already by default, every GitLab team member has 1Password account. Cool. I'm writing for the next one. Git core team meeting is. Shall we put it on the handbook that we welcome guests to join our meetings, and ask for everyone? Should we put on the handbook that core team meetings are open for anyone to attend if they want to? I mean, they are public. We share the recordings, so
I don't see why not. The only thing I would say at the moment is the focus of the meetings has sort of been on some of the issues that we're facing and sort of working against, if you were, and whether anyone can add value to that or whether that adds any value to their lives is very questionable. Whether in future we start talking more, I guess, like the mission stuff, if we started talking a bit more about that would probably be interesting to anyone and everyone. And if I don't know, we've always got a lot on, so it's hard to guess, but what we might use these calls for in future, whether we might actually start talking about some of the contributions that we're working on. And I don't know, but I'm really happy that anyone can join if they wish to do so. Andrew, did you have any expectations in terms of what may be discussed, or what you might like to see discussed in future? Or I think you're still mute. Double muted.
Really want to make sure my microphone doesn't pick anything up. No, I reached out initially on that issue because it already says in the handbook that that the meetings are open to anyone to join.
No,
I
am
couldn't
I
find
necessary, Christos?
but yeah, I couldn't find a link to that, and it looked like the playlist had stopped uploading the recordings.
Yeah,
no
you're spot on,
expectations.
and that's if you scroll through. So has everyone got access to the notes, Christos, as well?
Sorry, come again?
Everyone's got access. The public have got access to the notes as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if you look back to the previous week or two, you'll actually see that it's something that was clocked. Either it might have been yourself, forgive me if it was, but was clocked a month or two back, and is last month was the first time we actively, knowingly said, "Oh, just remember this is being recorded." And as Christos mentioned earlier, one of his fun chores is to re-download all of the recordings and upload the backlog.
Yeah, that document is available to anybody.
Perfect.
Should it be world editable though?
I guess changes in that attract, aren't they? I don't know sort of if there's any way to monitor.
I think
or
you can lock it to commenting, so people can comment but not edit. Maybe
that's an interesting idea.
Yeah,
and it's easy to request access to edit the document as well, isn't it? So I guess it, rather than us find out the hard way after somebody destroys the document, so to speak. Yeah, maybe that is a good, but I know, Google's pretty good in terms of being able to, not that I could tell you how to do it. Oh yeah, there we go. See changes, see full version history.
Yeah, I mean, there is a history. They manage it really well. Regarding access, the thing is that that it requires all the core team members to have a Google account. Probably everyone does. But we can definitely. That's a really nice observation, because anyone can click and just mess around with stuff, for sure.
Christos said, "We've all got full team Slack team access again."
Also, we need to make sure that there are not any sensitive information in the doc. I mean, I don't think that there is, but sensitive in terms of private information.
Yeah,
like emails or.
Sounds like a future thing. There's 33 pages. Might take a bit.
I'm actually looking for all the. Yeah, no, they're not. I look for all the emails, all the ads, and there is only 5, and it's like handles. So no emails there, and I managed to skim it really fast. So I think we're good for now. We're really good for now. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna create an MR, adding information. So I can also ask everyone on core team to see whether you have all Google accounts, so I can change the access, make it more like viewable for everyone, and for the core team have edit access, so you can change stuff.
I think it might be a good idea, because as I say, it's one of those where, like, maybe slightly better to do rather than wait until I don't know what they say, until it's too late. Although I know you can rewind, but easier to do now and avoid the problems then.
Yeah, I mean, we can be reactive on that whenever it happens. It happened. You can scroll it back. All right, Ben, I think it was you. Thanks for adding the last topic. It's about so to give you a background, I was going through some of the dashboards that we have on Bitergia and Sisense, and some of the definitions about the KPIs that we have as the contributor program, the program I run, and generally the GitLab. And there was I was specifically about the new GitLab release, the 14. I've been reached out. I was like, okay, what's the size of the community? What's the size of the contributors? And I found out that for a while now, it's been cited that the size of let me also share my screen in case that the size of the of the contributors at GitLab is more than 4,000 people, and which is partly true. 4,000 are the people who opened a merge request at some point at GitLab, but not necessarily their merge request has been merged. Right now, we have 2,500 people whose merge request has been merged. So in any case, so I opened this issue to discuss, how we handle that, what we define as wider community contributors. Because also in Sisense, if you click, which is like the dashboard that we use, like code contributors, it's a bit misleading in most of the dashboards. It's like if you, let's say here, for example, here it says, oh, you have 15,000 MRs. Oh my God, why it's not zooming in? Damn it. In any case, it says 15,000 MRs, and I'm like, oh my God, amazing, 4,000 people. But this is like the MR submitted. It's not MRs merged, so it's a bit misleading. So here, same as well. So my question to everyone is like, okay, how do we define wider community contributors as people who their merge request has been merged, at least one merge request has been merged, or we just make it different? We introduce another term and somehow try to define both groups. Like, hey, you know what? We have 4,000 people who've tried to contribute or something. Out of them, 2.5 people managed to land a change. Because at the end of the day, they spent some time trying to contribute, and for some XYZ reason, the MR was rejected or closed or whatever.
That was kind of my comment, if you saw that, Christos, that I think that
Yep.
ratio or percentage or kind of success factor or whatever you want to call it is probably quite an interesting number and something to actually monitor and maybe target to try and improve. I don't know how actively, if at all, we reach out to people that have got stale merge requests, especially if it's their first contribution. And, these people that are trying to help us, and we should probably be trying really hard to help them help us.
True. And that's a fair point. And I'm really not sure how we can find this information out. I mean, we can filter out the people whose MR has been rejected, but I don't know how, yeah.
I'm not following what you're saying in terms of figure what out. Like, maybe we
sorry.
don't need to go that specific right here, but I think that, like, I would say that I probably don't agree with that definition of community contributors, because there's various different parts of the GitLab site and handbook and whatnot that talk about contributors aren't necessarily people that contribute code, right? But this says, something about has an open merge request.
That's exactly what my comment was. Yeah. So in one side of me wants to reduce the number because I think people who have opened an MR, but they're not. But then I suppose that's still, in a way, a contribution, even if they raised something that they didn't manage to see through to fruition, but it allowed, I don't know, someone else to pick it up. But yeah, my comment on the issue was I started saying, right, I don't think we should count those people unless they've got an MR. And then I went on to say, well, actually, there's other ways of contributing other than code. So, but then how on earth do we identify those people?
Right. Like, for example, if you think about GitLab employees, not every GitLab employee has wrote code for GitLab. So would you say that they've contributed to GitLab or not?
Well,
I'd say
my only counter argument to that, Ben, would be that I almost think that they would be without a job if they'd never raised an MR, because I know that it's really, really important. And I see new GitLab team members starting regularly, asking questions in the questions channel and then going and updating, sort of onboarding documentation and handbook articles and stuff like that. So I guess, although they haven't contributed code, they have raised MRs, whether it be on the doc site or on the handbook or wherever it might be. So I guess maybe something similar is true for community contributors, even if they're not contributing code, they're probably, improving the docs or updating the handbook or something like that potentially.
Yeah. How do we?
But I know GitLab on our, like, everyone's got that on their profiles, got that contributions graph type heat map thing, and I think that includes comments, it includes raised issues, it includes much more. I think they might call them events, even pushes and things like that. So I think that's quite an interesting one, although I don't know if we're overcomplicating it for no huge reason. But
I mean, for the sake of, not for the sake, for addressing the specific one about code contributors, we can just mention them as code contributors for now, right now, and trying to address that. So for now, this is kind of solved in a way that, yes, trying to address how we define code contributors, because you're right now we have more ways for contributing to GitLab, and we're not necessarily taking everything into account, especially, we don't take forum into account. Bitergia has the issue, so we can track down contributions, but right now all these figures are only from merge requests. And Andrew, to your question, is like all the GitLab repos that we're tracking down on the code contributor handbook page. There is a list of all the repos that we found on Bitergia and Sisense. So yeah, I totally agree with you all. And Ben, to your original question, is like, what are we trying to figure out? It's like we have 4,000 people that opened an MR to GitLab, and out community members, and out of them only 2,500 their MRs have been merged, which means we have 1,500 people who open a merge request, and for some reason that merge request was not merged, and that's a high number. So that might worth exploring to figure out what's going on there and how we can better enable them.
Right. So I guess on that, like one, right, on the redefine wider GitLab community contributors, I can understand there's a conversation on are they a contributor or not, but on the specific issue of why is there why is, what is it, 30% of merge requests or something like that never merged from community contributors, I would definitely agree that is and that's been something I've always pushed on. There's all kinds of automation opportunities, which is why, even today, I opened up an issue on the triage server list, because when I contribute a merge request, I intentionally do not assign it, because that's what the average contributor has permissions to do. They don't have permission to assign it to somebody. So I basically treat myself as a guinea pig / am lazy every time I open a merge request, and I want to see if the automation works. And frankly, it doesn't in many cases, and my merge requests just sit there. So anyway, I think there's two separate issues. One is what do you want to define things as for metrics purposes? And then the other one is how can we bring more automation to help how can we help community members get their changes merged? I personally feel like automation is a starting point, but at a certain point, right, if they only built half the merge request, then we kind of have to decide, does somebody take it over or does it just get abandoned?
So, Ben, one of the things that's interesting there is, do you think, presume on those contributions, those MRs, like the new one that you raised on serverless, or does that not include? So you normally get the relatively new one. Remy can probably tell us a bit more about this, that sort of says, thanks for your community contribution. If you need help, then, ping at GitLab bot help. And if you need to assign it to a group, this is how to do it. And I I know that my MRs have come up. I think MRs, or is it issues? It might be issues I'm thinking of actually that come up in the sort of triage lists. But I suspect a lot of the time, well, I hope that my name is known to some extent. So sometimes they aren't triaged in the way that a standard community contribution would be triaged. One more little point though that I had noticed that it doesn't happen that often that people reach out for help, but I don't know that we, as a wider GitLab team, the entire GitLab team, are brilliant at responding when people do reach out for help. I know I've occasionally had to sort of, I don't know, escalate, let's say, when people have been asking. And whilst I know that that's something that's kind of part of our core team mission, I wonder whether, you know, who should be picking those things up, and could it be I don't know, internally
when you say escalate, do you mean to like the core team, or do you mean to like GitLab? Because I would say like the core team, from my viewpoint, this goes back to the mission stuff, like the core team's job here isn't to be everybody's help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or our, you know, like our mission talks about how we you know, want to ensure that everyone can contribute and that it's easy and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I escalate by really just either mentioning a few people. So when it appears in the MR coaching channel or in the Gitter contributors badger or whatever, you know, the Slack to Gitter link, I tend to share that. There's quite often people having problems with GDK, so I'll reshare that into the GDK channel. That's all I really mean by escalating, sort of reaching out to a few people and saying, hey guys, can someone help this person that's being kind enough to contribute and just needs a little bit of help.
We're on the same page there. Like I personally feel like there should be automation in place that makes what you've done automated. Like if someone needs help, there should be a way for it to get elevated. If someone submits a merge request and like they've left multiple comments asking for help, you know, someone should come along and help them. If someone submits a merge request and it just sits, like it shouldn't sit there for a month before somebody looks at it, right? So there's a bunch of different things.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Yeah, so we do have some automations in place. So as Lee mentioned, we have this reactive comment when you can ask for help for the bot, and that will actually post in the merge request coach channel on Slack. But yeah, we are thinking about reducing the bystander effect by actually like ping a single person instead of the whole merge request coach, because otherwise there's always the possibility that the coaches will just do nothing because they think that someone else will look at it. So I think we already have some stuff in place, and we obviously, thanks for raising the issue, Ben, because we want to improve that, and that's actually part of our OKRs to increase contributions. So yeah, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, like you guys have been making progress, so don't get me wrong, it's getting better. I just think there's a lot of, you know, opportunity, but competing priorities, right?
Yeah, sure. Cool.
And also it's about, you know, us providing feedback. It's been a long time, a lot of times I had a call with Kyle, and he was like, hey, you know what is the, give me more information about the whole process so we can come up with some automations about that. Andrew, that's all right. Wait, what? Customers? No, everything here is public on Bitergia. Bitergia is a public thing. You can access it by visiting contributors.gitlab.com. You can have a view. Thanks for that, though. These are the organizations that have been contributing. Wait, we're running out of time. Actually, we ran out of time already. Takuya, I understand Bitergia can be a bit overwhelming. Right now, it's one way to keep our data public and try to communicate that and have the availability to everyone too, and have everyone check them out however they want. So thanks for the link there. So for me, because I'm gonna continue working on that, I think I'm gonna start trying to investigate more about this 1.5 thousand people, and I'm gonna give the feedback that we just discussed, everything, put it on the issue here, on the issue, so we can move this forward. My goal is to gather feedback from everyone and just trying to reward that, so everyone at GitLab also is using that definition properly. Because yeah, and to the question that someone posed the question earlier, how would you find how it was defined in the blog post, reaching 1,000 contributors? That was back in 2016. Based on the date, it's 2016, so we're at 2021. My guess is that they were thinking about overall contributors who at least open an MR, given the fact that right now people who MR has been merged is 2,000, and we're growing fast. We're growing rapidly. Every month we have at least 30 new people submitting an MR and their MR being merged. So my suggestion is that this was they were taking into account people who not necessarily their MR has been merged. So that's my assumption. I don't know how to track that down because there's not a link to a date, to any data or something. So yeah.
Yeah. I posted the question before I tried to find the answer, and I also don't see any links or anything. So anyway, when you brought this up, I remembered that this blog post had happened. So I was like, well, did they define it? If so, we should stay consistent. But if they didn't define it, then I guess we're on our own.
Yeah, we have to. Cool. We're out of time. Thanks for all y'all. Regarding the hackathon, I posted the public retrospective, the issue for gathering feedback. So for this hackathon, I tried something different, trying the point system in a way to because we gathered a lot of feedback from engineers and managers that, hey, it was really stressful during the last hackathon. I mean, yes, it was a record high hackathon, but they had a lot of MRs to review, and it was really difficult for them because most of the times people were trying to break an MR to multiple ones to get the prize. So I tried a new approach, was the point system, trying to have people work on existing issues in a more efficient way. So we didn't get a lot of MRs, but we got a lot of issues being closed. And by the end of the next week, actually, which is by the end of the month, I'm gonna start reporting back. I'm gonna report back the result of that and the experiment, in a way that whether it was impactful or not. Oh, and something else that it's worth mentioning is that in the previous hackathons, at least the ones that I participated, we always had people who've been opening something like 60, 70 MRs per person, which is crazy. This time we didn't have any of them. We didn't have Yogi, we didn't have other people. So it was a different one for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna report back once I have all the necessary data. In the meantime, feel free to go to the hackathon public retrospective issue and leave any feedback regarding the hackathon overall, not just the last one, but generally the hackathon as a hackathon.
Could you link that by chance? Or
yes, it's linked. I linked it on the.
Oh, sorry, didn't see it. Yep.
No worries. All right. And with that, I'm gonna let you all have a great day, afternoon, evening. So thanks, Andrew, for joining. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you. It's been good.
And you all have a great day and great week, and see you online.